Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Toonkind at 12 FPS. My name is Avi, and today I will be playing your local real kind cat, Genie Satomi. It's fine. And with me today is the wonderful, the amazing, my loveliest friend.
Hello. I am grabbing Avi forcefully by the hand and shaking them. Uh, you are also lovely and amazing and wonderful, my beloved.
We love each
But
other
hi,
here.
we sure do. Anyways, hello. I am Fletch. I'm going to be playing my still horrible, if you want to go by the modifiers, little detective Camille. Emotionally, he's less horrible, but there's no fixing
Emotionally.
those modifiers.
You're so mixing it mods. Hi. Hello. So, Camille, what you up to today?
Um, Camille is finally free of the hospital, which means he can finally go off and enjoy fresh air and do things on his own, uh, which he's taking advantage of by mostly just enjoying the spring air in uh in probably nearby park in Villestown. He's uh he is definitely not avoiding issues by doing this. Don't worry, he's allowed a little bit of a break. Um, yeah, so he's probably just chilling on a bench a little out of the regular path of the public, and he's reading over a very particular card.
Camille out of the hospital, what crimes will he commit?
More detective enrichment, unfortunately.
It sure is. Sure do be detective enrichment.
Yeah, he's just reading over the card and writing down some stuff in his little notebook. He has swapped out notebooks. He's got a brand new one to, cause boy, someone sure did give him a notebook.
Oh boy.
hmm So I felt like I should probably make that note somewhere, auditorily.
Oh, wonderful. That's fun. That's great. um, and it is, a beautiful day in Villestown, and you are Camille sitting in a park bench.
And you are a horrible detective.
You are a horrible detective. Um, sometimes the detectives do shit. I guess. I don't know. I was going somewhere with that. Um, but yeah. You're chilling and you're vibing, and on my end, Genie is uncharacteristically alone, but he does have a habit of taking walks around the local area whenever Arata is busy doing something else, because he gets bored, and Genie sometimes just likes to walk around.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta go out on a bit of a prowl. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to make me a perception?
Sure. Alright. He's a little bit engrossed in the card right now, because that's only a 15.
Yeah. Um, in that case, I think it does come up as a little bit of a surprise in that case when you're looking over this card, and all of a sudden, as if trying to get your attention, you just hear a very a very surprise. Meow.
And he does kind of do a little bit of a jump because he is half Toon, and looks up from the card, then looks back down at Genie, and he's just, oh, Genie, what are you doing here?
And Genie's gonna walk up closer to you. He was like on the floor, so he's just on the ground, you know? So he kind of just walks up and just jumps onto the bench next to you.
Yeah, and Camille does kind of, he does kind of set the card down a bit to look over at, look over Genie, like, is Satomi-kun not with you?
How does he how does he do this? I think he kind of like makes like a gesture with his head, as if to say that like Satomi is elsewhere. But he doesn't make another meow as if to say it's fine. He's just taking a walk.
Yeah, Camille does a bit of a nod at that. And he's just like, well, you're welcome to stick here with me if you want to. And then he kind of settles back in.
I think Genie kind of just does that like cat plop where they kind of just like lay down, but he's laying down close enough that he's trying to take a peek at what Camille is looking at.
Yeah, you can make a perception.
Alright, here we go. Oh, these are your cat stats. Oh, hun. Oh, okay. Not too bad.
Yeah, that's a pretty decent number. Yeah, you can very much see a familiar calling card that was sent to Camille for a very particular reason.
Mm-hmm.
And Genie can also look over at Camille's notes. I don't think Genie knows thieves can't, does he?
Not in this form. Not according to his stat block, which I still want to remake. Ugh.
I mean, if he knows, I feel like he can probably understand the same languages that he knows.
Yeah, which was something that like past me did not think about prior to making his sheet, but you know, it's fine.
Yeah, like he can only speak Kibby, but I don't see why turning into Kibby would make him not know a language that he already understands.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. He could probably understand thieves can't in that case. Yeah.
In that case, you can see various notes that Camille has on the spirit rogues. And kind of just a few scattered theories and thoughts. He doesn't have a lot of information left, so you can kind of tell he's trying to mostly not piece together the whole puzzle yet, but kind of refine the pieces that he already has. And most of his notes right now are about the calling card, because that's probably the most solid lead he has.
Yeah.
And you can actually see a few crossed out theories. One of which being about like, how he originally thought the calling card was meant to lower people's guards, and that's currently crossed out with a brief description of Arata and Sammy's reaction to what he said. Well, to that theory when he told them.
I think seeing that Genie kind of like lets out a huff. Like he's not exactly laughing, but you know, he's still a cat.
Yeah, and looks over at Genie and raises an eyebrow like, what?
He kind of like stretches a paw like he's trying to like a gesture at the notes.
Yeah, and Camille looks down and he's just like, well, I guess there's not really harm in showing you. But he does kind of angle it a bit back to make it harder for Genie to see at first, like, you're not going to try and stop me, though, are you?
He kind of tilts his head.
Camille has a little bit of a playful smile on his face.
I think you just get purring.
Yeah. There's just a moment where he's like, all right. And he sort of presents the notes to Genie.
And Genie's gonna look at them. I think to like play up the cat act, he also does that cat sniff. Smells like notes.
There is a snort from Camille.
But he does actually like read through the notes a bit further and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's currently looks like he's working out the particulars of why the calling card was phrased like it was, to see if there's any deeper meaning behind it.
I think what Genie does is that he puts a paw on that section of the notes. And kind of, not exactly meows, but makes like that, I can't do the noise, but that mer sound.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of looks up at Camille.
And Camille kind of just blinks like, oh, he kind of brings a hand to his chin as he figures out how to word this. He's just like, well, I figure that there's probably a reason for why Satomi-kun worded things the way he did. Or it's also possible I'm reading too much into it, but any information is good information.
I think actually you say there's a reason that Satomi-kun worded it the way he did. You actually see Genie kind of like do a nod.
Yeah, Camille makes note of that. Quite literally. He does not care that Genie can see him making notes, since he figures that Genie probably figured it's not that hard to put two and two together.
And then like he does like move his paw away so that like Camille can write stuff down. But you do hear a sort of purring, sort of laughing kind of noise from this little kitty.
Kind of tilts his head like, what?
I don't know how to describe the expression on his face. It's just kind of like the mischievous knife cat face.
I think knife cat face is a very good descriptor.
He kind of does that to you.
Camille kind of just squints and he's just, well, I'd like to hear what you think. And that's probably a good place to do the thing, huh?
Gosh, what does he say? Genie kind of just, does that laughing noise again and kind of like, still kind of like plopped down, does a bit of a stretch. Right, you see him stretch out his front paws and like lets out a, God, I did not practice his voice beforehand.
I pat you.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's cool. And he just goes, detectives.
Camille kind of just stops, blinks, and turns back to Genie and squints. Like, I thought you couldn't speak common.
Genie kind of just blinks and looks up at Camille.
Kind of just squinting at Genie.
Genie's just squinting back.
Congrats, these idiots are now squinting at each other.
I think after a moment, Genie's just like, no, that's the baby. Sorry.
Sometimes cats are babies, I guess.
Thank you for your input, baby. I think Genie's just... What?
You're speaking.
I think that does get Genie to, like, actually, like, push himself up into a sitting position, and he's just... You can understand me?
I guess?
What?
I mean, I can't understand you before, but I understand you now.
Huh?
What?
Huh?
What?
Oh, these two.
It's real idiot hours.
Oh, I love these two.
I love them as well. Just, So this isn't something that you're doing?
No? Is it something you're doing? What?
I don't... One moment. And, he's going to... Let's see. Oh yeah, I figured out how to flavor this a little bit better. He kind of moves his hand up to his, glasses and, which is flavored as both his goggles of night and his wand of magic detection, because God, you can fit a lot of things in glasses, I guess. as I look up the spell description. And he kind of like pushes a button on the side of the frame and just looks over himself.
I don't know how this would be flavored.
It's you can sense the presence of magic within 30 feet of you. If you sense magic in this way, you can use your action to see faint aura around any visible creature in the object that bears magic, and you can learn its school of magic if any. So, your boy probably is doing that on himself, and also looking over at Genie real quick.
I can say for a fact that on Genie, Genie himself is not magical. But the, fuck, what's it called? You know that gemstone, like, collar tag? It's not,
I do.
it's not enchanted, but it is definitely of magic make, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's I was filing that away for later. I'm not going to ask you what school of magic that is because that can be hard to figure out.
Yeah.
So,
If I guess a good way to flavor it would be, I guess, celestial in origin. Take that how you will.
he sure will. And yeah, he's just gonna make note of that. But right now he has bigger issues, which is he can see that there's currently a divination spell on himself, and I'm going to, I guess, roll Arcana to see if he can put 2 and 2 together. He cannot.
Oh, honey! Oh, honey!
And he's just like, this is... Blink. Why do I have a divination spell on me?
What?
I don't know.
And, like, Genie actually does, like, stand up and tries to get closer and, like, I guess sniff the air at you as if that will help him in any way.
I guess roll Arcana to see if you can sniff it out.
He cannot.
Oh.
What was your intelligence? He cannot.
God, they're both stupid.
Hang on as I try to calm down.
God.
Genie's just like... Genie just kind of like shakes his head and is like... I can't tell anything.
It's just a sigh from Camille as he's like, okay, he's just... Brain is not he's trying to think.
Yeah.
But boy.
And I think, in that case, Genie just kind of like paws at him. And he just goes, "You're a half-toon, right? Are you half freaking Ollie? Because it's because Sammy was able to understand me for a bit."
Well, no, I'm half Toon, yeah, but half Ghibli specifically, but I never really had much access to the innate magic that toons have.
You see Genie's ears twitch a little bit.
You can roll insight if you want.
Alright, here we go. What the fuck? Okay. So, at the time of recording, yesterday was an Into Silence session, and 3 times Arata rolled a nat 20. I hope this is not an omen.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's a nat 20. Yeah, you can see that this is something that Camille is very, very certain of. And there's actually just a little bit of baggage along with it. Like, it's long since been something that he's come to terms with, but it's that sort of still. I'm not quite sure how to explain it. But either way, this is something he is absolutely certain of, and he has had a good bit of emotions over in the past. Because he who in lore.
Yeah.
But he kind of shakes his head and continues, like, I mean, even my hammer space is a little bit less reliable than most tunes.
Mm-hmm. You see Genie's ears twitch and kind of like flatten against his head for a bit. Because he was afraid he like probably accidentally stepped on like a sensitive topic before he kind of just like does the cat equivalent of a shrug. He's like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and roll Arcana again. Since, Frank and Alice can cast Speak with Animals, so maybe that will bring his. Yeah, that does indeed remind him that that is a spell that exists. And he kind of just blinks, like, it does seem to be Speak with Animals, though. I don't know why I can cast that.
That's not one of your gadgets?
No, I. And he kind of taps his glasses, like, I wouldn't know if there is anything like that built into here, considering I made them. It's not to mention that's not exactly something that artificers can do.
Huh.
And I mean, even before I kind of lost my magic, I didn't know that spell. So it's not like I'm getting my magic back.
I simply hold it. This cat. What are you thinking?
Cat is simply watching Detective do a think.
Yeah. I don't think this is related to your change of heart. This has never happened before.
And he kind of blinks and nods, like, okay, so not that. Hmm. This is. Hmm. He's kind of just tapping his little pen against his notebook as he thinks. It's definitely an innate magic of some kind. Well, I'm not sure why I would have gotten magic. I don't remember making a deal with anyone, at least. I don't. And he kind of snorts.
Yeah. Genie also snorts at that, and he kind of tilts his head, that cat confused head tilt. And he goes, "Well, if it's not on your tune side, do you know if there's anything weird going on with your real kind side?"
Well, he kind of pauses to think for a moment. Like, I don't think so. I mean, I do have a little bit of divination magic naturally, but that's from and he kind of taps at his ear, like, that's just for hearing the rhythm.
And you see Genie tilt his head. He has no idea what this is.
Oh, and he kind of blinks, like, oh, right. In the country where my father is from, there's this thing called the rhythm, which is some people born in that country descended from a certain group of people, I guess. It's it's more like a rare genetic thing that pops up in families every now and then. Well, basically being born with a little bit of innate divination magic that kind of lets them hear the rhythm of the world, so to speak. So like the the themes of people and places, for example.
Huh. Genie kind of like, how do I put this? Do you want to roll a quick insight? Just so I know how to
Sure.
flavor this?
Yeah. All right, you disgusting little detective.
Alright, that's great. That's cool. That's chill. You see Genie kind of like nod at that. Like he doesn't think it's weird. First of all, uh, then again, he is a talking cat, so. um, but the way he kind of like nods and like tilts his head, curiously as he responds to this is, it's more or less like he's heard something a little bit similar, but like it's not quite the same. Like he's heard about something similar. Sorry.
Mhm. Yeah, and Neil is mentally making note of that as he's just like, yeah, it's not that out there, considering how weird other things can be, especially in Einquell. Um,
Oh, you got
and
that right.
I mean, it's not even the weirdest fact about me, but it is um, nice, and it can be useful since another fun fact about it is that their people's themes sort of react to the environment and situation. So if someone's upset, you can kind of tell from how their theme changes.
Oh, huh. No wonder you're
I
a
could have
detective.
I could have him say a horrible little lie.
Oh, God.
I could have him say it's like being able to look into someone's heart, but you know.
Oh, God. That would set off a whole series of events.
It sure would. So the question is, how much crime do you want?
I look at this. I look away. It's up to you, beloved.
I'll roll D2. He does not say the stupid shit. Not today. And so he kind of just starts like, yeah, it's a pretty handy tool. You can tell a lot about a person from their theme.
And Genie just kind of nods. And he says, well, I don't know. I don't know why. I think speak with animals is kind of a stretch, even if it is the same school of magic.
It is, like, I mean, no offense, but your voice isn't exactly musical, and I would assume most animals aren't.
He gives you a mock offended look.
Camille raises an eyebrow, though he does kind of have a bit of a smirk.
I have a perfectly good voice, thank you very much.
Your voice is fine.
Exactly!
I just think it's not exactly a musical voice. It's not like you're singing when you speak.
They're idiots, Your Honor.
They are.
And I think Genie just kind of huffs in mock annoyance. As I did roll another intelligence to see if Genie could put something together. And I think it's really hilarious because we did talk about this.
Yeah.
And you see him kind of like, you see Genie kind of pause as he kind of like looks you over, and he just goes, Camille, are you a druid?
Camille raises an eyebrow like, why would I be a druid?
Well, that's a spell. Well, speak with animals is a spell that druids can learn.
I mean, and he thinks for a moment, like, I don't particularly feel druidy.
Many squints. Not like he's squinting at you, he's just like, what the heck is going on here?
He's like, I mean, I don't even know how that would feel.
Right, and you've been in the hospital, so
it's not exactly like I've been around nature. I mean, we're outside now, but I hardly think that's enough nature to spontaneously turn me into a druid.
And Genie kind of just nods at that. He's. And you do see him kind of like sit down again. And he does.
They're both kind of just sitting there.
They're both just sitting there. And I think what Genie says is like, well, even if we can't, he kind of just sighs and he says, even if we can't figure out what it is right now, I don't know, it's kind of nice to know that somebody else can understand me.
And he actually nods, like, yeah, it's good to not have to act around someone. Or at least not have a communication barrier.
Mm-hmm. You see Genie nod.
Now, in that case, and he kind of gets a bit of a goofy grin as he extends a hand towards Genie, like, it's nice to meet you officially again for the third time.
And you do actually get like a proper laugh from this cat. As he kind of like places a paw in your hand. Well, it's nice to meet you too.
And he gives Genie's paw a little shake before letting go. Like, I just hope that this doesn't become a running gag. I mean, how many more times will I have to meet you again?
Genie just kind of pauses and looks like he's trying to count something, and he just says, well, it has been 3 times.
Technically 4 if you count a certain thing, but that's fine.
It's fine, he's not mentioning it.
It's fine. And he just sighs like, I don't know how this is going to become a running gag, but okay. We'll see how that pans out.
And Genie just sighs and says, the world works in mysterious ways.
And it does. And he kind of falls into a bit of a companionable silence for a moment. Before he's like, by the way, is there something else you would prefer to be referred to as other than, well, a cat?
You do actually see him get like a little bit thoughtful, almost a little bit frustrated, because he's not sure how to word it. And he just says, I'm not a cat.
And he nods like, I know, so I figured I might as well ask if there's something else you'd rather be called by. And there's a bit of a sense of understanding, because gestures at Camille's situation.
I think Genie kind of just sighs at that. And he just says, I am not a cat. I am Genevieve Satomi. Genie for short.
Camille nods. Like, well, that's good enough for me.
And you see, like, the cat equivalent of a smile.
And Camille smiles back.
I mean, getting into the specifics would be a little bit complicated, so just not a cat.
There's another nod, like, oh, trust me, I am well aware of how complicated things can get. And he looks like he's remembering a particular fact.
Oh boy. And Genevieve sighs and he goes back to like kind of like laying down, plopped against your leg. And he kind of like looks back up at you. What were you gonna say? Oh.
Feels kind of looking back. I will say he is slightly tempted to do a pet, but he's refraining.
I simply tempt Camille more.
Sorry, what was that?
I simply tempt Camille more. Oh, hi, Nikki.
Yeah, someone decided to. There is a dog at the park. It's fine.
Yeah. Sometimes a kid takes his cat to the park, and sometimes there's also a dog at said park. It's cool.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, so I think Camille kind of he looks like he's resisting the temptation for a moment before he's like, by the way, if this is a bit of an insensitive question, I won't ask again, but do you mind being pet?
He kind of just squints. Do you want to roll a quick insight?
Sure. Alright. He's too distracted by kitty fluff, I guess.
Okay, I think, that's still a 15, though.
That is true.
You get the feeling that if it were anybody else, he would complain. But he's making a pass for you for some reason. Only a little bit.
And Camille kind of smiles like, alright, only a little bit. And he does reach out to give Genie a chin scratch.
You get the, like, at the same time, a very content purr, but also an amused and a little bit annoyed. As you scratch Genie's chin. Part of this may be an act.
He kind of just smiles.
It sure is a cat.
There is a little kitty. It's fine. I think once he's kind of gotten his fill of chin scratches, he does, or maybe while he's kind of petting Genie, his hand probably does brush against the collar, and he remembers a certain point that, he remembers a certain little fun fact about it, in that for some reason that little gemstone is familiar, but he doesn't know why. So he kind of falters after that and is just like, by the way, I know that Satomi-kun said he got it from a friend, but he's squinting at the gemstone, like, is that, is it like a good luck charm from Yeto, or?
And, you said you were still scratching his chin, right?
Yeah, he's slowed down a little bit, but there is still a little bit of a chin scritchy.
Oh, hi, Maggie. You're right in time for some chin scratches.
Yes, good.
Oh, she is purring. Oh, she is so loud.
Oh, baby. Aw. Baby noises.
That's just Genie.
Oh.
You do slow down a bit, and like when you ask that question, his eyes finally like do open as he kind of like glances downwards as if to look at the collar. But you know, he's a cat. He can't exactly like see it too clearly.
Mm-hmm.
But he does kind of like raise a paw to like sort of bat at it, like he's trying to gesture to it. And he
Yeah,
says,
Camille probably does retract his hand at that point, so Genie can better do that.
yeah, he's trying to like gesture at it. The best I can describe the motion he does, you know, like how sometimes people will just like instinctively touch the jewelry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to do. And he just says, well, I guess you could say it's a good luck charm. It was, it was given to me by, I guess you could say family.
Kind of blinks at that and nods, and he's just like, alright, yeah. I could have him say something stupid again.
Oh boy, you want to roll for it?
He was gonna say, cause, yeah, he thought maybe he saw it as, being sold at, like, a forced market or something.
Oh.
So that, more like that kind of stupid.
Alright. Well, I think that
Yeah.
would be funny.
Yeah, and he kind of just nods like, alright, yeah. If it's a good luck charm, then I guess I was right. I figured it seemed familiar, so I figured I probably saw it at like a market in a Force and port somewhere or something.
And that does get a snort from Genie. As I quickly roll something. Okay, yeah, I think that's enough. keep forgetting your stats as a cat are so different. I need to change that after this.
I pat you. Yeah, I mean, it would make sense if it worked more like a druid wild shape in which he kept the um like the intelligence and wisdom and charisma and all that the same.
Yeah, I should have done that. Like, logically speaking, I should have done that, but the fact of the matter is that I made Genie's stat block before I made his Paraverse sheet because I was never
You were
certain I was going to be able to play Paraverse Genie.
you were so very valid.
So yeah, that's gonna be fixed later. um, and Genie kind of like snorts at that, and he's like, "Oh no, this is really special." And then what you said about it being familiar kind of clicks. And he kind of blinks and looks back up at you again and says, "Wait, you said you think you've seen this before?"
And he kind of pauses and nods like, "Yeah, I you're sure that this isn't like something that would be like sold somewhere? I I can't really remember where I saw it before. I just know it feels familiar."
No, this was made specifically for me. And he kind of pauses and he says, "Is it the oh, whoa, voice.
I pat you.
Is it the and he kind of makes a gesture, the letter?"
Uh, he picks up the calling card.
No, the lettering of the logo on his
Yeah.
engraved on the
Yeah, I
gem.
think it was specifically the letter, wasn't it?
Yeah, cuz it's the logo.
Yeah. And he kind of just nods like, yeah, it is the letter."
And Genie kind of like again blinks at you. And he just goes, "Camille, have you ever heard of the Velour Room?"
I look over at Avi.
You can roll history.
Alright, Alright. Oh. Buddy, you never get good history rolls. Why now?
Oh, God. Oh, huh.
He never gets good history rolls, okay?
Okay, as I try to sit and figure out how to flavor this. The name is familiar. There's no... Okay, Maki, please stop trying to swat at me. Get out of my lap.
Kitty crimes.
There's no doubt that you have heard of the Velour Room before. You just can't place where or when you've heard of it. But not only that, it's less like it's hard to remember and more like you're trying to remember a specific detail from a dream from a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Camille kind of just hums and squints. probably does take him a moment to get all of that brain thought together, and he's trying to grab at that uh memory, even though it's very slippery, as is the nature of dreams. Is he's just like, uh yeah, actually.
And Genie's eyes widen as he, like, straightens back up and looks at you again. But you're not... Huh. That's... Is he's trying to get, like, thoughts together.
Yeah, and Camille's just like, he is thinking, like, I mean, I don't know where or when. It may have been a long time ago. I only really know that it sounds familiar.
Huh. And Genie kind of, like, looks like he's trying to figure out what to do with that information. As I look over at Lore
Yeah,
stuff.
it's fine. Camille's kind of just squinting before he does a little shrug, like, well, maybe I just heard it in passing or something.
And Genie kind of just tilts his head and again does the cat equivalent of a shrug. I mean, we're not exactly the most secretive, but that's not common.
And he does kind of nod, like, yeah, maybe.
And I think Genie kind of makes a mental note to mayhaps ask Jiro about this. Like, what? Huh? What?
Just, huh? What? Huh? I shake around two idiots.
They sure are idiots.
And he kind of is just like, well, I think it's one of those situations where the harder you try to remember, the less you do, so I doubt I'm going to be getting any more information out of my brain for at least on that.
You see Genie's ears flick because he is so confused by all of this. How do you know about the velour room? You're not even a wild card.
And yeah.
And I think he just
God, he could say another very, very stupid thing.
You could.
Because, if it feels like it was from a long time ago, there is a chance he'll go like, well... It's like, there's a chance he can just go like, well, I can put a pin in it until I ask my brother if he knows.
Oh my god. Puts my head in hands. We can once again flip a coin for it.
Alright. Okay. Okay. He's keeping his stupidity in for today. At least for most things.
For most things, at least, yeah.
And he kind of just, taps his chin as he thinks, like, well, I'll certainly let you know if I, remember anything more.
Yeah, and Genie just kind of nods. And I think what he says is you sure are one weird kid.
Oh, you don't know the half of it. Just...
Then I think that laugh was in character.
Yeah, and Camille kind of grins like, I mean, apparently I look like a kid on the outside, but, my... And he points at his head like, my brain is still that of a 16-year-old's, which is interesting.
Oh,
Though
I
guess
wonder your head is so big.
my head is perfectly proportional.
Just a little bit of friendly bullying here.
Well, besides, I'd much rather have a big head than a little tiny one. And he pats Genie on the head.
Hey!
There's a bit of a grin.
He squints at you, does that, like, offended cat look. You know the one.
Mm-hmm. It's just like, your head is very, very small, Genie.
Why was that your response? Hang on. Hang on. As I try to fucking control my goddamn character. And he says... He just kind of over-dramatically sighs, and he says, my genius is underappreciated in my time.
There's very much a snort from Camille. Just... Well, I mean... Most geniuses and innovators were never appreciated in their time. Only after death.
Gee, thanks.
There's a bit of a smile.
And I think Genie just kind of sighs and once again leans against your leg. I think he notices your notes again.
Camille notices him noticing.
He does give like he has like this kind of thoughtful look on his face, and he's just, well, you are pretty smart, I'll give you that.
Oh? Do go on.
Yeah, he kind of like again reaches a paw towards your notebook as if to like ask if it's cool if he gestures at something. He's got cat paws. He can't hold this.
Oh. Okay, yes, Sparky. The dog in the park has returned.
Woof.
Yeah, I think Camille probably tries to help Genie out a little bit.
Yeah, you see him like sit up again, and he kind of like gestures at the at your notes, and I think what he says is, well, you're right about one thing. The wording of the calling card is pretty important. And he kind of like gestures to that and he says but I think you should try thinking of the guard, and he looks at that note as more of a side effect than a direct effect.
And he nods, like, that does make sense a bit more. And he does pick up his pen with a little bit of a spin and make some notes. Probably starts adjusting some other things and connecting some dots, because he's just like, judging at least from Sammy's reaction, my initial guess, and he taps the crossed off theory, was very wrong in an amusing manner, which usually means I had the exact opposite guess of what really happens.
And you do hear that like little bit of a soft snort from Genie.
And I can't see why you would want someone to raise their guard. So it being a side effect makes a lot more sense. And he's kind of muttering as he tries to put some stuff together.
Yeah, and as you're writing, I think Genie's just kind of like watching this. Not exactly smugly, but like he's watching you do this. And he has that like impression as like if you want another hint, he can try and word something for you without giving it all away.
Yes, Iggy? Yes?
Woof.
Iggy gets very, very mad when I'm at my computer for over an hour, which sucks because I have, like, stuff to do, little man. He's pointedly avoiding eye contact now. Yeah, so just... I think... Really?
Wow!
Really, little doggy? Your timing is impeccable, Iggy.
He
Yeah?
was waiting specifically for that.
He does that. So I think after writing some stuff down, Camille does look over at Genie's expression like, I take it you have another hint?
If you want
it. Camille's gonna have to think on this one.
Genie
Kinda...
is very amused.
He kind of, is thinking, tapping his, pencil against the notebook, and you can probably tell, that since his mind is elsewhere, his tapping actually seems to be following along a certain beat.
I think I accidentally dropped my dice. Don't worry about that roll. uh, I think that checks out because you did tell him about the rhythm, so he's just kind of filing that away for later.
B2 says only twos. I think Neil does think on it for a long moment, where he's just like, well, I do kind of want to figure this one out myself.
Alright, fair enough. If you change your mind, I can still tell you something.
He nods like, thank you for that.
And he gives you, like, that kind of happy cat squint smile.
And Camille does give him a smile back.
And yeah. I think he's gonna, like, let you, like, continue working out your notes and whatnot.
Yeah, I think
Is it a school day in universe?
in universe it is.
Oh boy. Oh boy. I think what Genie does after a moment of watching you write stuff down, he goes, "Is it alright if I ask you something?"
Sure, shoot.
I think he says, how do you word this, buddy?
You could just be blunt about it.
He says, are you comfortable going back to school?
And there is a deep sigh. Like, he doesn't say it out loud, but you can tell just from his expression, like, there's very much that feeling of, I don't wanna.
And Genie just kind of, like, nods sagely, like he expected that.
And Camille's just like, I mean, I already graduated from school once. I don't want to have to go back and learn basic adding.
Basic addition. Oh my god. And I think Genie snorts at that, and he's like, no, I think I get it. Trust me,
I didn't even learn subtraction until months later.
Simply just sit here. Oh god. And Genie kind of like gently snorts before he kind of like I guess what do you call it? Sighs. And he's just, I mean, I understand it's not exactly the most fun.
And it just I know. I probably should, because I know I've already kind of failed considering everything that's happened, but I don't necessarily want to bring a lot of attention to Camille.
He kind of. You see his ear twitch when you refer to yourself that way. But he's just. Well, I guess if there's no avoiding it now, you might as well just. He kind of pauses and sighs. Would you get in trouble for just not going?
Yeah, that's called truancy.
I don't think Genie knows what truancy is. Arata was just a very simple, good kid, good student. That was mostly because of his probation. He's just like, oh, wild.
He was just a polite little birthday boy.
He's just a polite little birthday boy. Who did crime on after school.
As you do.
As you do.
As phantom thieves usually do.
And like, no, Genie's just like, oh, wild.
I know. So, what are the chances that everything gets resolved before fall?
Genie just kind of shrugs and he says, you could get somebody to homeschool you. And he can't do it with pause, but you get the impression that like there is quotations around homeschool.
There's a bit of a snort from Camille, like, well, that is a possibility. And he's thinking about it, like, I'll probably have to see if I can, finish this year, I guess. I mean, there's a chance that, considering how much I missed, I really don't want to have to go through... I really don't want to have to go to first grade a third time.
And then I think Genie just kind of snorts and says, you could pretend to have Arata as your tutor.
And he does think about that. Like, that is a possibility. I'll figure things out.
And Genie kind of just like does like a sort of shift where he's like, it looks like he's readjusting his paws. And he's like, he doesn't say anything, but you know that he's trying to tempt you to do this so you don't have to think too hard about it.
And Camille does genuinely seem to be considering things like, there is a chance that the school will assign me a tutor, but I think that might work. At least, if not for this year, then for next one.
And then Genie nods.
And he does seem to be a good bit relieved at that. Boy, does he dread having to do?
Yeah. And I think with that, he kind of just, Genie nods and kind of like settles back down again. But this time, his head is like blatantly in your lap.
Aw. Neil does kind of reach his hand out questioningly, as if, to silently ask if Genie would like pets again.
You get a squint. Roll insight.
Alright. Well, no, that's not a plus 20, that's a plus 10.
Okay. Oh boy. Alright.
If you had a plus 20 modifier, things would be very...
Yikes!
Yeah.
I think with the 17, you could tell that Genie is heavily debating this. He is not a cat, but you can tell that he does enjoy pets from the people he allows them from.
Probably makes note of that, before he's just like, I kind of understand where you're coming from, where it feels like you do kind of enjoy this, but you feel like you shouldn't.
And like Genie does kind of like look up at you and then just kind of sighs.
Like, okay, you can't tell this to anyone. But
Genie gives you a look. There's only a select few he can tell.
and he just kind of like, listen, I know you can tell Arata, not Arata, I know you can tell Satomi-kun, and that is one of the people I very much do not want knowing this. Okay?
Genie laughs. But he nods.
And Camille kind of just smiles like, really, dog? Really? That's right, you look away, you stupid little man. Camille kind of just leans in and is just like, I actually don't mind being held too much.
Aww.
He does seem to be a little bit embarrassed admitting it out loud. And he's just like, no, it doesn't really sound like that big a deal, but considering I used to be 5'8",
Genie just kind of snorts. He's like, no, I think I get it.
So Camille kind of smiles like, so I kind of understand where you're coming from. At least a little bit.
Yeah, and Genie nods. And he kind of just sighs and readjusts himself so that now, like, not only is his head in your lap, and but he kind of lifts a paw and like kind of stretches it. Does like a little stretch, and yeah, he is in your lap.
And Camille kind of just smiles at that.
Are you really gonna tell him about this, Genie?
Oh,
he kind of sighs. I think the way he's positioned, he is close enough to to you that he kind of just, like, gently bumps his head against your stomach. And he says, you know, not too long ago, I actually didn't have. This is gonna sound really silly, but because I didn't have all my memories, I used to think that I was just, a human stuck in the body of a cat.
Yeah, and Camille actually kind of winces a bit because he does remember a very certain statement, and he's just like, sorry.
It's fine. I mean, that's not what I am, but
thinking that you're something different from how the world sees you from can be painful.
and he nods. It's it's tough. Especially when people don't really, they don't really see
Take
you.
it seriously?
Yeah. He kind of laughs. I used to butt heads with one of my teammates a lot because of it.
Real snorts like, well, honestly, if I were in your position, I'd probably do the same. Is you feel like out of everyone, at least your teammates should be the ones that understand.
And Genie nods. And he says, it did get rough for a bit, and I might have. He kind of winces. I might have misunderstood something he said. But, I think we're better now, but even so, it's tough. Especially when you, oh god, is that what you're gonna say? Especially when your reflection doesn't really match up with how you see yourself.
And that's like, yeah, I understand that pain at least. For the longest time, I couldn't even bring to look myself in the mirror. Not because I, not because I didn't like what I saw, but more that I was afraid that I would have one day I would look in the mirror and I would be used to seeing that reflection.
And I think Genie kind of just sighs. And kind of like leans a bit more against you. And he says, well, as funny as it is, I think it's nice to know that At least someone understands.
I'll give him a bit of a smile, like, yeah, it's unfortunate to know that there's someone else in that situation, but it's also, since it's not exactly either of our faults, it's nice to have someone you can talk to. And then there's a bit more of a smiling, especially since now I can talk to you.
And Genie kind of stretches and he says, yeah. I don't mind talking to you.
Well, I like talking to you too. So, if you ever need a conversation partner, well...
And I think Genie kind of like laughs and he says, oh, the baby's in trouble.
Rip to the baby.
Okay. The Genie just says, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and... Well, no, it's like, I like that too.
And I don't really have much of anything else, unless you have something.
Nor do I really.
In that case,
They're
oh,
kinda just vibing now.
kind of just vibing. Genie is definitely not purring.
Definitely not.
Definitely
It's
not.
fine. It's fine. Even if he is, which he is not, Camille would not mention it.
But yeah, I think that is a good place to end off, as the two just kind of appreciate each other's company.
Mm-hmm.
And
They're just doing a good vibe.
it is the vibe times. And thank you so much for playing with me, Fletch.
Yeah. Thank you for joining me, Avi.
Ah!
we, we gave them a nice, good soft break because goodness knows they need it.
Oh, yeah. And thank you so much to our wonderful audience for listening in, both, well, there isn't anybody listening now. We've just kind of been left to our own devices, committing many crimes.
Nobody to stop us.
Nobody could stop us now. But thank you to everybody who is listening in the future. And I think we're gonna bid you a good time zone.
Bye.
Bye.